So we finally now know about the Nintendo Switch. We've finally got to hear from Nintendo themselves. No more rumors, no more conjecture. We now know the price point, the launch date, and at least a little bit about the launch games, though that is where my biggest issue is, but we're going to get to that as we go through. Look, everyone in the world is going to be doing a reaction video, so why not just throw my hat, my non-existent hat, into the ring and give my opinion. So first and foremost, we now know that the Nintendo Switch is launching on March 3rd of this year, just like a little less than 2 months away. It's insane. We knew that was kind of going to be the thing, but now we have to all kind of scramble. We're worried about pre-orders. The rumors are going that it's going to be a very limited launch, so are we going to be able to even get our hands on it when it comes time for it? Plus, now we know the price point of being $300, $299.99, so $300 plus you factor in your taxes, and then we have to, of course, then factor in game prices and controllers and all that good stuff. But now we have a better idea, at least, of not only the price point, but also how the controllers work and what other stuff are we going to need to get for ourselves if we want to have a successful and fun launch day. However, right off the bat, they kicked it off with something that I know is going to be probably the most controversial topic, and I hear people screaming from all over the world at the fact that online play is no longer going to be free. Nintendo was the last bastion as far as console gaming was concerned without having a price in order to play, like your PlayStation Plus or your Xbox Live, but now Nintendo is going to have a pay service. They're going to be free for the first few months, and then coming in the fall, I think it was, they said, it will start to cost. Now, that doesn't mean there won't be like a trial period for everyone once they finally get the system, as I have a feeling most people aren't going to be getting the Switch until maybe later in the year, maybe the holiday season. So I'm sure they'll have some kind of 1 month free or something at that point, but we don't know the price point of how much it's going to cost per month, what the whole price structure is, and what do we get for that money. Nintendo, yes, has been free, but I've had issues with Nintendo as far as their online stability forever. Even with the Wii U, there was still online stability issues that I ended up having with the system, unlike the pay services on the Xbox and the PS4, which I very rarely ever have any issues as far as online connectivity ends up going. So hopefully they may finally have the whole online thing right, and the Switch will be great for that, but it's going to cost us extra money. I saw this coming. I thought this was going to be something that Nintendo was eventually going to implement once they felt confident enough and they had a few online games that they thought people would be willing to pay for, such as Splatoon, Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros., and I'm sure more will be coming. And this also lends itself to third parties that want to put their games on the Nintendo Switch. This will be all part of that whole thing as far as being a factor with online play. But we're going to have to wait and see, of course, how much the cost is, but I guarantee a lot of people are going to be mad about this point. The other big announcement right away also was it's going to be region free. This is something that has not really happened with Nintendo, even back to all the way to the Famicom days. The only region-free systems I can really think of off the top of my head that were from Nintendo were the Nintendo Game Boy and the Nintendo Virtual Boy. Now, granted, if you get a little bit of modification, you could get the Super Nintendo to play Super Famicom games, N64 to play imported N64 titles, the NES, if you had a conversion thing, you could put it on the system. Like, it wasn't anything preventing you from being able to play as long as you were able to do these little modifications. But as far as consoles are concerned, I think this is the first completely region-free Nintendo system. Of course, correct me in the comments down below. So that is really cool, though, that we're finally getting that. I know some handhelds, also I think the Nintendo DS, if I'm correct, the DS was region-free, but the 3DS wasn't, which was a big deal. I actually remember importing quite a lot of DS titles, but I couldn't import 3DS because of that reason, is why I never got the uncensored version of Fire Emblem Fates, though I heard I really am not missing that much with it. Now, when it comes to the controllers itself, we got to see pretty much it in action. You have the system itself, which will have the ability to have kind of like these grip things that you can kind of attach the monitor to and like hold, or you have like the Joy-Cons you'll be able to put in it and actually hold. You can, of course, take the system with you, and you have the big screen and have the Joy-Cons on it so that you'll be able to play wherever you end up going, or break them off and have the screen set up and then be able to hand off the Joy-Cons to other people, as well as being able to put it into the docking station and then playing it using the kind of setup with the full Joy-Con thing, or the Joy-Cons by themselves, or the Pro Controller, which they also showcased a little bit more and did announce during the course of the presentation that it will be an extra. It will not come with the system. I didn't think it would, but it would have been nice because that's probably how I'm going to be playing most of my games. If it allows me to use a Pro Controller, I'm always going to pick that option because honestly, the Joy-Con, while it seems like a really innovative and cool idea, when I saw them in action, wow, do they look small. I have big hands as it is, so I've always preferred bigger controllers. I'm one of those few that actually likes the original Microsoft Xbox controller, that really huge bulky one, because I actually could hold it correctly in my hand. So I'm really fearful as a big guy that I'm not going to be able to hold the Joy-Con in my hand. In fact, I feel like it's not even going to reach the entire palm of my hand, but that is something we'll have to wait and see about. I think it's a really cool idea. I also like the fact that the Joy-Cons themselves have this HD rumble, they're calling it, in it, which is going to allow us to have more force feedback than ever before. They use like the example of being able to pour like a glass of water and feel the ice cubes in and be able to actually tell how many ice cubes are in your glass by the way that it reverberates in your hand. So these are really cool ideas, but more of a gimmick than anything else, which will be a nice little novelty for a handful of games if done correctly. I could see some really cool moments in a game using that to its advantage, but outside of that, it's purely novelty over actual functionality as far as the game is going to be concerned. The other big question, of course, with the Switch was going to be battery life. Since this is a portable system, how is battery life going to end up working? And now we know it's going to be about 2.5 to 6 hours. I'm going to go with around 3 hours as far as battery life is concerned. They said it's going to be on a game-per-game basis. So yeah, maybe looking at the menu, playing maybe a retro-style looking game on Virtual Console, yeah, maybe it'll last 5-6 hours. But I have a feeling with your big HD projects, 6 hours is not going to be happening on the system. The good thing is you can plug it in and charge it while you play, so that's a big thing. But to me, the whole kind of portable part of this Switch really isn't the attractive part of it. I'm much more interested in it as a home console than I am as a handheld system. But of course, for other people, this is going to be one of the big drawing factors with it. But then again, I wouldn't trust carrying something like that out in public. I'd be afraid I'd drop it or someone would just steal it right out of my hands. So it's really cool, but the battery life is also going to be leaving a lot to be desired as far as I'm thinking a lot of tech geeks are concerned. Maybe they will come up with alternative ways to charge it, maybe alt batteries that you can carry around, kind of like a extra battery for your cell phone. That's, of course, something we'll have to wait and see about, but I'm not really all that impressed by the battery life. Now, of course, let's get to the games itself. There were only 2 games showcased at this conference. We know tomorrow morning they're going to be showcasing more at a Treehouse event, so hopefully we will find out more about a few other games that are going to be coming out. But as of right now, only things confirmed are 2 games for launch come March 3rd when this system comes out, which is a big disappointment. 1 game is enough that will fill most people's launch cycles and they'll be more than happy with. But anybody who's going to be looking for variety, I feel like may be lacking. I hope they prove us wrong and show some more stuff maybe tomorrow or before launch that's going to be launched, but everything they showed, only 2 games are actually launched. First of those ones, though, is 1-2 Switch, which they showcased with this, like, opening trailer with, like, this gunslinger, like, duel at the, you know, OK Corral kind of thing, Wild West scenario, which kind of looks cool that they're going to be able to, like, do these all kind of mini games where basically each person has a Joy-Con in their hand because it breaks apart as 2 separate controllers, and both of them will be able to be used with 2 people against one another for different styles of mini games. In fact, you don't even need to look at the TV supposedly in order to play this particular game. So it's a complete casual style game. I think it should be a pack-in, though it looks like it's going to be a separate game. I think that's a big mistake. I think it should be a pack-in just like your Nintendo Land, which I actually really loved on the Wii U, as well as, of course, Wii Sports, which was an amazing game to pack in with the Wii to get you used to everything. And I think for 1-2 Switch, or maybe something else, if they're going to maybe showcase another game that's like this, I think they're missing out by not having it as a pack-in game with the default system. Because unless this game's really cheap, I don't see me going and spending the extra money when I'm already dropping $300 on the console for something that's basically going to be a very small mini-game compilation. The other new kind of whole project they showed was ARMS, and this is a one-on-one fighting game with people with giant spring-like arms that they can launch out at each other in order to punch them. I was hoping maybe some kind of form of Punch-Out when they first started kind of showing things, but nah, it's like a whole new game all by itself. I like the art style in this game. It's very colorful, some cool character designs. I worry about, of course, depth as far as the main game is going to be concerned. Is it mostly going to be a multiplayer fighting game against your friends? They mentioned a little bit about potential online, so we'll have to see if that's going to end up being implemented into the game or not. And it looks like it's going to be within the first few months of the Switch's launch, but it's not going to be a launch title, as they said specifically spring of 2017 instead of saying the actual date of March 3rd, which they did for 1-2 Switch and the other game we'll talk about in just a little bit. I think it's a really cool concept, but once again, is there going to be enough there to warrant a full price point? How is that really going to end up functioning, as it's going to require two people to both have the Joy-Cons. They showed it. Each character, each person is controlling two controllers in their hands at once. So because of this is going to require you to go out and buy more Joy-Cons. Is that something that's going to be available in the launch window? I mean, we never got separate Wii U pads by themselves or functionality for the Wii U to use two Wii U pads at once. So I'm a little bit shaky as far as that whole thing is concerned. So we'll have to kind of, once again, wait and see with that one. Then they showed something I'm sure a lot of people are going to be excited about, and that is Splatoon 2. When they first started showing it, it looked identical to me. As someone who has only played Splatoon a little bit and really didn't get into it, I didn't like the fact of lack of local multiplayer, which is being fixed for Splatoon 2. They are going to have local multiplayer, so that's a huge thing for me, because I'd rather play with my friends than jump online and play with strangers. So I really like the fact that local co-op is going to, or local multiplayer is going to be available here with Splatoon 2. So that's a huge step up. They're adding some new power-ups, new weapons, and of course new stages to the mix, and are going to be supporting it with DLC that will be added after the game launches. It's not a launch title. There hasn't really been a set date on anything, though it looks like it will be sometime this year, probably more towards the holidays. I know a lot of people out there are loving Splatoon. Like I said, I just couldn't really get into it. I haven't really found that much enjoyment from it, but maybe with Splatoon 2, I can jump in and end up having the fun that everyone else seems to have with the title. Now, of everything showcased here, this is the thing that impressed me the most, and that is Super Mario Odyssey. This is a brand new 3D Mario title, the first time we've seen one since Galaxy, and they even talked a little bit about Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine when talking about this game. Basically, this setting is going to be Mario coming to the real world, though it's an unknown world to Mario. All the levels look like they're going to be based on real-world locations, such as possibly a New York City. Looked to be like a big chunk of what was there, or at least something influenced by New York City. There was the whole Day of the Dead scenario level that we've seen a little bit from previews in the Nintendo Switch reveal video that they did a few months ago, as well as like an Egyptian themed level and jungle themed level. This game looks gorgeous and looks to retain what makes 3D platforming with Mario great. This is the game I'm excited about. I was really hoping, crossing my fingers, it would be closer to launch, but they said it's going to be holiday of this year, which always has me worried, because holiday, okay, we hope, but they could be pushed back to next year. So if it comes out this year, this is going to be one of the big must-have games for the Switch this holiday, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. It looks gorgeous and looks like it's a ton of fun, even with the whole kind of hat with eyes gimmick they're doing, where basically Mario actually will be able to throw out his hat and actually use it as an extra platform. So I see a lot of potential really fun platforming segments in the game set up due to that. So yes, Mario Odyssey is the game of everything probably shown I'm most excited to get my hands on. Next up, they showed Xenoblade 2. I'm sure for fans of Xenoblade, they were all over this and like loving every detail that was shown with it. To me, meh. I tried to play Xenoblade back on the Wii and never could get into it. I really didn't end up liking it all that much, and I haven't tried the Xenoblade Chronicles X or whatever on the Wii U. Unfortunately, my Wii U pad broke before the game ended up launching, so I wasn't able to get a hold of it, and since you can't buy a Wii U pad, I haven't gone ahead and actually fixed my Wii U yet. So I know that's one of the big titles on Wii U that I personally still haven't played, but I know for a lot of people this looks really, really impressive and it's going to be really cool, so I'm happy for everyone out there. But to me, Xenoblade 2 was kind of just like, okay, let me get to the next game, because it really didn't do anything for me. However, right after that, they showed a small, little, tiny teaser for Fire Emblem Warriors. This is basically the next Dynasty Warrior-esque game for Nintendo. This is awesome. I'm a big Fire Emblem fan, so to see more games in the Fire Emblem universe, I am all for it. Hopefully they execute it better than Hyrule Warriors was executed. While I thought that game was very good in some regards, I didn't really like the way local co-op was handled, so hopefully hopefully Fire Emblem Warriors will improve on that. We won't get like the degradation of graphics when you ended up playing multiplayer, which was just a big turnoff for me when I was playing Hyrule Warriors. But it's Fire Emblem. Anything Fire Emblem, I'm at least going to give a try to, so this is really cool. All they literally showed, though, was like 2 seconds of like a CG trailer and all. We don't have any other details. It's probably way off from coming actually out, but this is one I'm definitely excited for. Then they announced some Dragon Quest stuff, including Dragon Quest X and 11 are coming to the Nintendo Switch in Japan. I don't expect to ever get Dragon Quest X at this point. That is the MMORPG that has been out since the Nintendo Wii, and we still haven't gotten here in North America. So I have no hope of Dragon Quest X ever coming to North America. However, Dragon Quest XI, I'm already excited for on the PlayStation 4. So I don't really, even if it doesn't come to the North America through the Switch, though, I hope it does for those who end up getting the Switch, because I love Dragon Quest. More love the Dragon Quest, the better. But I'm already excited for it on the PlayStation 4. So really no sweat off my back as far as it not coming to here. They didn't really make any official announcement if we're getting either one of those. And the same goes for Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2 being bundled together to come out on the Nintendo Switch as well. No details on if that's going to come to North America. Of course, we already have Dragon Quest Heroes here in North America. Came out in 2015 for the PlayStation 4, and we also will end up getting Dragon Quest Heroes 2 for the PS4 coming up in April. Pretty sure it's April. So once again, that's one of those things where it's cool. I hope there's some Dragon Quest love on the Switch, but I'm already going to be getting it on my PS4. Right after that, they showcased a very small teaser for Shin Megami Tensei, so I'm glad we're going to be getting a new Shin Megami game on the Nintendo Switch. I'm a big fan of the series, so even though it's just a very short teaser, it's very early in development, God knows how long it'll take to actually come out, but I'm happy that the Switch is getting that, and if it's exclusive, even more reason for me to get the Switch. They also showed something called Octopath Traveler from Square Enix. This is a retro-inspired RPG. I'm not sure if it's being done by the RPG team that did like I Am Setsuna in the last couple of years. But either way, it looks really cool. Great sprite work. No details as far as the trailer was concerned if that's going to be on other systems or not. There's still always that possibility, but if it's an exclusive, this is another one for retro JRPG fans to look at the Switch. We also got confirmation that Skyrim is going to be coming to the Switch. It's something that we saw with that little teaser trailer they did a few months ago, and now they've confirmed it. Bethesda has confirmed it, and this is just, even though it's not really a big deal to me, because I've already played Skyrim on a PC, PS3, and I'm going to be getting it again on HD for PS4 once I can get it for a little bit lower of a price. So getting it on the Switch really isn't doing anything for me, but for some, this is still kind of a cool thing to have Skyrim potentially on the go. So that's kind of a cool thing that we will end up getting. One of the other big highlights for me was seeing Suda51 on stage for the Switch presentation. I'm a huge Suda51 fan. I love No More Heroes. Killer 7's one of my favorite games ever made. I even like some of the stuff he only had a little bit of part of, but it's still part of the whole thing with like Lollipop Chainsaw and anything that basically he's associated with. I usually give a look to, though I still haven't played Let It Die quite yet. However, there is going to be a new No More Heroes game, and this is the big one because No More Heroes is amazing. I always recommend it to people if they talk about the Nintendo Wii and it didn't really have that many great games that weren't Nintendo. No More Heroes was one of those examples of just an awesome, awesome game. Sure, it wasn't perfect. None of Suda51's games are, but I love No More Heroes. I love the whole world and aesthetic to everything with it. So, a new game in that universe? Yes, a huge, huge thing for the Switch. And if it's exclusive to the Switch, that's even more of a reason to get that system. We also had EA come out briefly and talk about how FIFA will be coming to the Switch. I don't know if that means other EA Sports titles will be coming to the Switch, as the Wii U got almost no support as far as EA Sports games are concerned. I know many of you that may see this don't really care, of course, about like sports games, but it still is a big thing to have the modern sports titles on your system. They are big money makers, so not having them at all on the Wii U, I'm sure disappointed some people in the long run, so we'll see what ends up happening with EA. Is it just going to be FIFA, or will there be more titles down the road? Last but certainly not least was the new huge trailer for Breath of the Wild. I've been wanting this game, of course, like many others, and one of the reasons I want the Switch is to, of course, get a hold of Breath of the Wild, and it's going to be a launch title for the system. This is a system seller. This is the kind of game you want at launch. My fear, though, is there's not going to be enough other games to entice everyone else. So for many, I'm sure you're going to be like, well, Breath of the Wild's enough. I don't need anything else. I'm getting the Switch because Breath of the Wild, period. You don't need any other reason to get the system on launch day. But for others, I feel like there is going to be that lack of other game support. Hopefully they announce a few other things here and there or something to tide people over for getting the system at the actual launch day. The trailer looks gorgeous. I'm already super hyped for it since I already know about the game and I've been excited for it for a while. It didn't do quite as much for me as like Mario Odyssey's trailer did, but it's very impressive. The world looks huge and it looks like it's going to be fantastic. As expected, it's Zelda. No matter what it was, I was going to play it. Even the Zelda games I don't like, I still partially kind of like to a degree. So Breath of the Wild, I'm sure, will be no exception of still being a fantastic Nintendo title, and smart move to have it on launch day. It will move systems, that is for sure. Though there was no announcement about the Wii U version at all during the course of this. Granted, it was about the Switch, but we know there's things is Breath of the Wild is supposed to come out for the Wii U, and I'm still expecting it to get canceled at this point. But there was no official announcement about that. At least if there was, I ended up missing it. So there you have it. There's my opinions, my reactions to the Nintendo Switch presentation. Let me know what you guys thought about the Switch presentation and everything we've seen so far down in the comments. Are you getting the Switch on launch day? Are you going to be one of those ones like me fighting to get a hold of the system? Mostly I'm going to be trying to get a hold of it, so of course I can review and do games on the Switch. Breath of the Wild's a big reason for why I want it, you know, of course, near launch. Heck, I may even do some kind of streams or something to try to build up those funds to potentially get a hold of the Switch on that launch day. And if I do, expect a long, possibly 24-hour stream of the Switch, just like I did with the Nintendo Wii U and the PlayStation 4 when those ended up coming out. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.